3I Atlas was discovered on July 1st by the Atlas telescope in Chile. It originated from outside our solar system and will exit permanently after perihelion. 3I Atlas is the size of Manhattan, which makes it too big for a typical comet. Its path through our solar system has it skimming right by Venus, Mars, and Jupiter in a fine-tuned path that has a 0.005% chance of being natural. It is producing its own light, and it has a sunward-facing tail glowing in front of it, which is very unusual for a comet. Based on these details, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb suggests the object could be artificial. But the symbolism behind it goes much further. Comets and other planetary objects in the sky have been seen as way signs for a new age, a new era, or great change for thousands of years of written history. In the Bible, there is wormwood, which appears 7 times in the Old Testament and once in Revelation. It is associated with bitterness and death. Ancient Hindu writings speak of Dhumaketu, a fiery comet marking the end of an age and the dawn of the next cosmic cycle. The Mayans wrote of the Kukulkan comet that would be seen during the shift into the New World. And the Hopi wrote of the blue star Kachina that would usher in the fifth world after a purification. The cataclysmic shifts recorded in the Epic of Gilgamesh from ancient Mesopotamia involves a passing planetary object called Nibiru. Nostradamus described comets and objects in the sky marking the birth of a new age. And the 3I in 3I Atlas points to the third eye, the third ventricle in the brain, and the awakening of consciousness in a human being, which is what the astrology suggests as well. During its perihelion, there will be a grand water trine, a rare event where 3 planets in the 3 water signs form an equilateral triangle. Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, the 3 most influential planets, will all be in water signs. This symbolizes cleansing, purification, adaptability, and the transformative power of flow. In Western occult philosophy, comets are active agents of spiritual forces that drive human evolution by introducing new cosmic impulses into our planetary system. Overall, comets represent the creative forces that disrupt earthly routine and introduces new qualities and impulses to human evolution. Just as a woman brings a new child into the family, the comet injects a new dynamic into human spiritual growth. According to the teachings of Rudolf Steiner, as a comet passes over us, it collects harmful spiritual substances, which are then carried away and transformed. As they pass, they also introduce new spiritual energies that accelerate humanity's evolutionary process. But that's not to say it makes things easier. He said that the 1910 appearance of Halley's Comet would bring a new impulse that could deepen materialism and distract humanity from its spiritual path. And in 1913, the Federal Reserve Bank was born, the epitome of spiritual rot. Steiner taught that humanity's evolutionary leap requires the individual's deliberate choice, and that one must persist in the shadow of darkness in order to raise their consciousness. For decades, teams of scientists and researchers of many backgrounds have been studying what one could call the pyramidal effect, a measurable disturbance in the energy field surrounding a pyramidal structure. Some researchers have concluded that the shape of the pyramid causes the surrounding subtle energies to resonate with the frequency of the Earth's magnetic field, creating an amplified field of energy around the pyramid with healing properties for all within it. 3,000 years ago, the Chinese called this healing energy qi, and the Hindus called it prana. In the 19th century, Helena Blavatsky called it astral light, and Wilhelm Reich called it orgone. Today, many people call this quantum energy, an energy which is said to be the source of all physical matter that exists, a subtle energy that appears to amass in the space of a pyramid structure. Researchers have observed accelerated plant growth within simple pyramid-shaped structures. People have used this energy for food preservation by storing perishables in a pyramidal structure, which has been shown to slow down food spoilage. Studies have shown that housing rats in a pyramid reduced oxidative stress. Scientist and former defense contractor Alexander Golod has been studying this pyramidal effect. He held an experiment where prisoners were fed pyramid-treated table salt, which reportedly resulted in a significant decrease of violence. And he has built several pyramids in Russia for people to sit inside of and experience the effects. Russian and German physicists learned that the pyramid's dimensions, its inner chambers, and the limestone substrate it sits upon scatters the surrounding electromagnetic energy, concentrates it within the inner chambers, and forces them into the ground beneath. It has been found that a pyramidal shape can cause quantum dots to emit polarized light, which is light that vibrates in only one direction. Standing over 220 meters high, the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia is the tallest pyramid in the world. It has the typical pyramid geometry and is coated by rectangular blocks of concrete, superior to modern concrete, and made of the local clay. In 2010, physicists were able to measure a constant beam of energy shooting up through the top of the pyramid, 4.5 meters wide. In 2011, experts in ultrasound measured an electromagnetic frequency of 28 kilohertz at the top of the pyramid. Several researchers have verified this, and computer simulations reveal that, in its current state, the pyramid is generating its own electromagnetic signature, distinctly different than the Earth and its surroundings, its own field of energy. Rudolf Steiner, whose teachings led to anthroposophical medicine, biodynamic farming, and the Waldorf School, said that the heart is a seven-sided regular form that sits in an imaginary box in the chest. Regular means that all seven sides are identical. Plato described 5 platonic solids, and Steiner said there was a sixth one. He also said that the heart is not a pump. This fantastic claim was vindicated by Frank Chester, who figured out how to design a seven-sided regular form. This sixth platonic solid is now called the chestahedron, and it fits perfectly inside a cube at an angle of 36 degrees off-center to the left, the exact same angle that the heart sits in the chest. When submerged in water and spun, 2 counter-rotating vortices are formed. Recent scientific studies have shown that these 2 vortices facilitate the closing of the valves, and when the vortices don't form properly, blood clots will appear. The man who unfolded 1,000 hearts, Paco Torrent Guasp, discovered that the heart is a single muscular band, folded over itself in a spiraling pattern. The heart itself is a vortex of tissue. It is not a pump, it is a vortex machine. For centuries, it was believed that matter can only exist in 3 states, such as water, which can exist as liquid, ice, and vapor. Human cells are 70% water, but most of this water is not in any of these 3 states. We have recently learned that with water, there is a 4th state. This 4th state is called the plasma state, gel phase, exclusion zone, or structured water. And this is what pushes your blood through the entire cardiovascular system. Fueled by infrared energy from its environment, the water in our body becomes an electrical propulsion system. A certain percentage of the water in our body becomes structured water, and the rest remains normal liquid water, or bulk water. The structured water becomes negatively charged and forms the gelatinous outer walls of our capillaries, veins, and arteries. These negatively charged outer walls continuously propel the positively charged bulk water within, carrying the blood with it. This propulsion system will run indefinitely, so long as it stays charged, and the way you charge it is with the Earth's electromagnetic field, infrared energy, and positive thought. The work of Dr. Misaru Emoto has scientifically demonstrated that water exposed to loving human words and thoughts is transformed into its natural hexagonal shape. It becomes structured at a molecular level based on our positive intention. This new model shows that it is the blood that pumps the heart, not the other way around. And in order to keep the flow strong and healthy, our best medicine is to connect to the earth, get sunlight, love ourselves, and love one another with physical touch. Victor Schauberger spent his life studying water and found that in the natural world, water will always create vortices along its path. Schauberger learned that this spiral action is what structures the water in nature, and that when subjected to modern man-made water treatment, it loses its structure. Schauberger's work led him to believe that one could generate energy out of a vortex. He described it as an energy implosion, as opposed to an energy explosion. Dr. Tom Cowan, who has written about this in Human Heart, Cosmic Heart, has an interesting theory which may explain the saying, "a heart of gold." Another recent discovery is that gold in its purest form does not appear to be gold at all. Under the right conditions, normal physical gold can be transformed into a fine white powder known as monatomic gold. This monatomic gold has been studied by multiple advanced laboratories, and it has very strange properties. It can be made to levitate and disappear. Monatomic gold is superconductive, and many would argue that this is what the alchemists were after. One of the ways of turning metallic gold into monatomic gold is by putting it through a high-speed vortex. When this transformation occurs, there is a flash of light and a 44% loss in weight. Dr. Cowan believes that the trace amounts of gold in our blood is transformed into monatomic gold as it travels through the double vortices in the heart, creating the spark of life.
If you enjoyed today's video on Anonymous Official, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching and sticking with us.